What's up, my bearded bros? Pretty Maine-iac here, and I wanted to cover some recent trades that were made in the NFL. Now, a lot of teams are going to be trading a lot, well, if they want to, just so they can narrow down who they want in free agency and also who they get in the draft, where you can only interview so many people. It helps them narrow it down. Now, a lot of crazy shit happened today. A lot of crazy shit I never thought would happen. We start with the Browns dealing quarterback DeShone Kizer to the Packers for cornerback Demarius Randall. Now, this move is so interesting for me. Now, not only do the teams swap 4th and 5th round picks, which isn't too bad of a deal, but DeShone Kizer started 1 year, didn't do too well, moves to the Packers, who have Brett Hundley, who they said they were confident with as the backup. So it makes it kind of questionable. Plus, they trade away a cornerback for a quarterback, and quarterback isn't really a needful position in my opinion. I think the Browns hand down won this trade. They got a solid corner to help that defense. Now, if they can pair him with someone nice in the draft, they are going to be looking good. Packers, I can't wait to see what they do with DeShone Kizer. Him learning from Aaron Rodgers should help him improve dramatically. And also the Browns get quarterback Tyrod Taylor from the Buffalo Bills for the 65th overall pick. Now, Tyrod Taylor for the 65th overall pick, that is tremendous value. Bills, who were unsure about Tyrod's future, get tremendous value back in the 65th overall pick because they can get a quarterback with one of their first selections, or they can trade maybe both their first round picks up to get one of the big quarterbacks in this draft. Now, Tyrod, I like Tyrod in Cleveland. He could be a starter for 1 to 2 years if Cleveland decides to draft a quarterback this year. That way, that quarterback can mature and grow in their system instead of them just throwing them to the wolves like they have been with rookies and having it not work. I like having Tyrod Taylor as a bridge quarterback. He's got a great value on him, especially when it only cost him a 65th overall draft pick. It was a big need. Big problem for the Bills, though. They have no quarterbacks on their current roster, so I'm looking for them to go after Sam Bradford, Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, one of those types. Maybe Kirk Cousins, but they don't really have the money for that. And another move today, 49ers are moving on from Elvis Dumervil, who's 34 years old. It's looking very doubtful, in my opinion, that he's going to get picked up by any other team, but if James Harrison can get signed by the Patriots, maybe someone signs Dumervil, maybe not at the beginning of the year, but halfway through due to injuries. He's definitely a solid pass rusher, had 6.5 sacks last year. Holy shit, he has 105 in his career, I didn't even know that. Also, huge move for the Browns, and it just keeps going. Not only do they get a cornerback in Demarius Randall, not only do they get Tyrod Taylor, who dramatically improves their quarterback position, but the Browns send 2 draft picks to the Dolphins to get wide receiver Jarvis Landry. Now, I've talked about this trade before. I'm not sure if I talked about this on here, but I felt like this could happen when he got franchise tagged. Now, they're working on an extension already for Jarvis Landry in Cleveland. Now, getting Jarvis Landry, matching him with Josh Gordon and Corey Coleman, maybe moving Corey Coleman to the slot, putting less pressure on him. I like Njoku at tight end with that combination. Having Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, maybe they draft a guy with a big arm. Having Gordon and Landry, that is a dangerous combination for Cleveland. Also, Miami, who's looking to be in a rebuild, with unsure about Tannehill's status moving forward, where he's suffered a lot of injuries. Unsure with their running back situation like Kenyon Drake, but they could use some help there. Their defense needs some help. They get the draft picks that could end up helping them, because the Dolphins, they have a decent track record at getting good talent in mid-rounds. Also, another big notification, it's not a trade or signing or anything, but Mike Evans got a 5-year, $82.5 million contract extension. That's going to be big for the likes of Odell Beckham and them when they sign extensions. Also, it's looking like Adam Jones isn't getting his option picked up by the Bengals, so either they bring him back at a lower rate, or maybe he signs 1-year contract somewhere else. The Eagles traded wide receiver Torrey Smith to the Panthers for cornerback Daryl Worley. Now, this one's interesting. Philadelphia needed the trim cap space. Torrey Smith, who didn't produce too much during the regular season, had a decent postseason, is sadly a casualty there. I think the Philadelphia Eagles do have depth at wide receiver, but it is kind of sad. They get more depth at cornerback, which is important, especially when Worley only is going to make $650,000 this year. They get great value, and they at least have one roster spot that's going to be very, very cheap. Sadly, the Legion of Boom is no more. The Seattle Seahawks released cornerback Richard Sherman, and a lot of people are thinking he could go either Oakland, Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco. He said he wants to go to the Contender. So my likely things if he wants to go to the Contender is maybe New England Patriots if he takes less money. Maybe the Chargers, because if he goes to the Chargers, that probably automatically puts him as favorites in the AFC West. So that could be good. He could... Actually, I'm not sure where else he could go. And Matt Castle got cut by the Tennessee Titans, which is kind of sad. So did the Norris, Searcy, and Eric Weems, and DeMarco Murray. Also, previously, from March 8th and before, Aqib Talib got traded to the Rams for a 5th-round pick. Later in his career, he said he wanted to play for Wade Phillips or New England, and they decided to trade him to LA. I think with the Marcus Peters trade and this trade, this gives LA a defense capable of keeping up with Philadelphia, especially in the playoffs, and especially when the Rams did so poorly against Atlanta in the playoffs last year. That definitely gives them a lot more power. The Rams also, for a third cornerback, so if they do the 3 corner set, they signed Sam Shields, who has been a year out of the NFL, but I think he's still a solid talent, especially backing up Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. Marquise Goodwin got a 3-year contract extension from the 49ers, so that's awesome. Shane Lecker got a contract extension, that's awesome. So did Chris Baker. All these are amazing moves, honestly. Now, what do I think this does? Like, reaction time. What do I think this does for the NFL landscape, or at least I should say AFC North, because it's more impactful there. I do like the Bengals going to get younger. I'm going to say that there. The Eagles making a smart move. Torrey Smith wasn't terribly productive, saving a lot of cap money. Panthers getting a wide receiver that's big. When they got rid of Kelvin Benjamin, that's good. Seahawks, I don't know what they're doing with their roster. They traded Michael Bennett to the Eagles as well, but he wasn't. They had a better offer from the New England Patriots, but they didn't take that. It's kind of odd. But the Browns, this gives them a solid quarterback, at least league average, at least. Gives them Jarvis Landry on the outside with Josh Gordon, who is dangerous. With weapons like that, they could score point for point with Pittsburgh if Pittsburgh's defense is weak, considering they won't have Shazier next year. They could put up some points against Baltimore's tough defense as well, because they actually have the weapons to score. Their defense gets a little bit stronger. I'm not saying Demarius Randall is going to stop Antonio Brown, but it gives them a little bit more talent to maybe limit the damage they were suffering from last year, especially if Myles Garrett can be healthy. And I think this gives them a little bit more freedom with the number 1 overall pick in the number 4 overall pick. A lot of people thought the Browns had to draft a quarterback number 1 overall. Now, I think that was a great mistake, and actually that's a false statement. I feel like they could draft Saquon Barkley, because if you match Tyrod Taylor's quickness, mobility, with Saquon's just athleticism, his power, his speed, I think it's a deadly combination, especially when you have deep ball threats in Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry. I think that also frees them up to wait until the 4th overall pick to draft a quarterback, especially when there's a few good quarterbacks in this draft. Now, maybe they fall in love with someone and are afraid that New York could take one, or someone could jump them at number 3 and take one. But there are 3 quarterbacks I'd be extremely happy with if my team selected: Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold. I'd be happy with either one of them, especially if you're going to wait for them to develop for a couple years. And I think the Browns would be happy with all three of them as well. Now, I love this because free agency is around. They still have a lot of cap room. So dream scenario here. Dream scenario. This is going to be the last thing right here. Imagine this. Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon, and Corey Coleman at wide receiver. Corey Coleman's not the greatest, but if they moving him to the slot could make him a little bit more effective. What if they draft Saquon Barkley to have him at running back, mixing him with the solid option of Duke Johnson as well. Tyrod Taylor's mobility, decent arm, quickness. I like that. Imagine if they signed tight end Jimmy Graham in free agency as well to throw him in there with Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon. That would be a very potent offense indeed. They could go after other receivers as well. Maybe go after a 3-receiver set of Sammy Watkins, Jarvis Landry, and Josh Gordon. That would be freaking incredible. But it's going to be an interesting way to see. I honestly don't see currently how this Browns team doesn't win a game this year, especially when they're going to be facing off against teams like the Jets, the Raiders, and I believe they also face, I'm trying to figure out, the Colts. No, Colts. Because Colts and Texans were close, but I believe the Colts finished worse than the Texans. Should be a good season. I can't wait for free agency. There will be another video covering all the free agency news from day one, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff happening as soon as that clock hits. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below of all the trades that happened today. A lot of them are freaking crazy, and I think the Browns are super aggressive, and if I'm a Browns fan, I am extremely happy with what my team's doing, because finally, after decades of waiting, we finally have hope. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.